All right, welcome to this explainer of the World Cup round of 32 knockout matches. Today, we are breaking down some absolutely incredible tactical clashes. We're talking real David versus Goliath matchups here, guys. We've got a fascinating slate of do-or-die football ahead of us. And understanding the precise tactical setups of these massive teams is exactly what we're going to accomplish here. So if you want to know exactly how the underdogs plan to topple the giants, well, you're definitely in the right place. Let's dive right in.
Here's our matchday docket for today. First up, a quick welcome to the knockouts. Then we'll break down Brazil versus Japan, followed by Germany versus Paraguay, and Netherlands versus Morocco, before we wrap it all up with the final predictions. Section 1. Welcome to the knockouts.
In the group stages, you can usually survive a little tactical misstep. A dropped point here, a defensive lapse there, and hey, you can recover. But here, the margin for error shrinks to absolute zero. Like our analysts pointed out, the psychological landscape just completely shifts when it's literally loser goes home. Teams with incredibly inspiring runs are about to be sent packing. And honestly, that realization alters how every single manager approaches the game. You can't just play for a comfortable draw anymore. You have to actively go for the win, all while knowing that one single defensive lapse could end your entire tournament. Talk about pressure.
But hey, before we preview today's specific tactical matchups, we have to look at the immense standard being set in this tournament right now by a true, absolute legend of the game. Lionel Messi is actively dominating with a record-setting 6 goals. 6! And get this, he's doing this at 39 years old. Scoring in 7 straight World Cup appearances, bending in free kicks, finishing with just absolute precision inside the box, it's wild. It's a brilliant reminder that class is permanent, and man, it establishes a massively high bar for every other superstar taking the pitch today to live up to.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, the Brazil versus Japan breakdown.
So these two nations actually share some really deep ties off the pitch. Believe it or not, Brazil is home to the largest Japanese community outside of Japan, and Brazilian players have heavily influenced the Japanese J-League for literally decades. But on the pitch today, it's a massive, massive contrast of styles. Japan lacks a singular global superstar they can just toss the ball to when they need a miracle. Instead, they rely on this incredible prime Barcelona-esque ball retention and profound team unity. It's like a giant puzzle where every single piece matters. Brazil, on the flip side, leans heavily on the individual samba flair of players like Vini Jr. to break open those super tight, heavily defended games.
But here's the truly scary part for Japan. Brazil isn't just relying on attacking flair right now. They are actually peaking because of a monumental defensive foundation. You have arguably a top 3 center-back pairing in the entire world with Marquinhos and Gabriel. They're backed up by Alisson in goal and completely shielded by this dual defensive midfield engine of Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes. It is an absolute brick wall for a Japanese team lacking a primary superstar to try and break through. They're going to have to rely on absolutely perfect passing combinations to even find a way in.
Okay, imagine preparing for the biggest game of your life, and your opponent doesn't even know your name. Seriously, this shocking admission from Brazil's Rafinha highlights exactly the kind of Goliath mindset Japan is up against. When asked who the most dangerous Japanese player was, Rafinha just flat out admitted he didn't know them. The Brazilian giants are focused purely on their own execution and overwhelming talent. Meanwhile, the systemic underdogs have to play the absolute perfect collective game to prove they belong on this stage. And force Brazil to remember them.
Next up, Section 3. The Germany versus Paraguay breakdown.
Now we're looking at a pretty incredibly vast gap in attacking quality here. Germany comes in heavily favored, boasting a system that is deep, creative, and just deadly across every single position. It's incredibly difficult for any defense to fully shut down a system with that many angles of attack. Now, to be fair, Paraguay brings an enormous amount of heart and passion. Their defense is genuinely solid, and actually, they haven't conceded a single goal since their opening match. But when it comes to transitioning the ball up the pitch and creating genuine threats, they face a monumental hurdle against this German machine.
Just look at this staggering reliance. It's wild. 98% of Paraguay's offense flows through Julio Enciso alone. 98! Against a highly structured, disciplined team like Germany, that makes Paraguay incredibly easy to double-team and isolate. When Paraguay is on the ball, it's essentially 1 versus 6. Because the offense is so incredibly one-dimensional, the German defense can basically just isolate Enciso, cut off his passing and shooting angles, and completely neutralize Paraguay's only real path to scoring a goal. Let's turn to Section 4, our Netherlands versus Morocco breakdown. Oh man, this matchup promises to be absolute cinema. It's a true 50-50 toss-up, pitting a renowned European powerhouse against one of Africa's most elite battle-tested squads. Now, while Morocco's overall offensive output has dipped slightly since that famous 2022 run, their possession-based midfield has improved significantly, anchoring an incredibly impressive 20-plus game unbeaten streak. 4 years ago, you might remember they relied heavily on deep defending and rapid counterattacks. Well now, they are incredibly technical, aggressive, and super fast in the center of the pitch. They can actively retain the ball high up the field and dictate the pace of the game, which makes them a total nightmare to break down.
But that elite Moroccan midfield is about to be relentlessly tested by a really well-oiled Dutch machine. The Netherlands enter this with massive confidence and a perfect 10-for-10 record of advancing past the World Cup group stages. That's no joke. They're fueled by an offense that is just scoring from everywhere right now. You've got wingbacks like Dumfries flying high up the flanks to assist, Gakpo chopping inside from the wing to score in a flash, and Somerville providing constant, massive threats. They are definitely going to push the tempo and stretch Morocco's tactical discipline to its absolute limit.
The analysts we sourced are completely split on this game, passionately debating how it's going to shake out. One side argues that the sheer volume, speed, and variety of the Dutch attack will just simply overwhelm Morocco's defense over a grueling 90 minutes. But the other side? They firmly believe that Morocco's tactical discipline and that massively improved midfield will successfully strangle the game, drag the Netherlands into deep, frustrating waters, and pull off a penalty shootout masterclass, exactly like they've done in past tournaments.
Finally, Section 5. Let's get to the final predictions.
So looking at the consensus, the footballing giants are heavily favored in the first two matches. For Brazil versus Japan, the general expectation is a tight 2-1 victory, where Brazilian defensive solidity ultimately edges out Japanese unity. For Germany, a comfortable 2-0 or 3-0 shutout against a pretty one-dimensional Paraguay is universally expected across the board. But that Netherlands-Morocco game, that is the true wildcard. We're seeing a complete split between a narrow 2-1 Dutch win in regulation and a gritty Moroccan victory surviving all the way through to penalties.
So I leave you with this question. Will today be the day that systemic, collective unity finally dethrones individual, global superstardom? Or will the Giants just march on as usual? I mean, think about it. If a team like Japan or Morocco secures a win today, it signifies a massive shift in the global football hierarchy. It's going to be fascinating. Make sure to keep these specific tactical battles in mind as you watch the action unfold on the pitch today. Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer, and hey, enjoy the